guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while, but I am so excited to be back. I have something really special planned for the month of May on my channel. We are going to be talking all about eyeshadows. Eyeshadows are definitely my very favorite makeup product. To celebrate my love for eyeshadows, I thought it would be fun this month to really walk you guys through my top very favorite eyeshadow palettes. Mainly these are going to be palettes, but I might throw in some individuals as well. But tell you guys why I love each of these, what I love so much about them, what different types of looks I like to create with them, and kind of walk you guys through kind of swatches, formulas, all that fun stuff. Hopefully for those of you that are also eyeshadow lovers like myself, this will be just fun for you guys. Or for those of you that are maybe new to makeup or looking to build up your collection or invest in a palette, I'm hoping this will just be kind of a good overview and recommendation list. So to kick things off today, I want to start with a palette that's relatively new to me and is also kind of a drugstore price, which I really love. It is the Kathleen Lights Dream Street palette. Now I know that this palette is not new. Those of you that watch a lot of YouTube videos will have definitely heard about this palette, but I absolutely have fallen in love with this palette. I think not even for the price point, just in general as a palette, this is just such a good one. I love the mix of colors that you get in here. It is the perfect palette for someone that loves a good neutral color eye but likes to kind of dip their toes into color. Such a great palette. The price point on this is great. I believe they are $16 from Colourpop. Their formulation is fantastic across the board. I love their mattes. They're very rich, very pigmented, but also very blendable. I love the shimmers. They pack a nice punch, which I really love. A very punchy shimmer for my eyelids particularly, and there's a lot of good options in here for that as well. I just think this is such a fantastic palette. I love the colors that were chosen for this palette. I've had this for about 4 months now, and just over the last 2 months, I've had a hard time not reaching for this palette every single day. I've had to force myself to try some of my other eyeshadow palettes because I just love this so much. The reason that I wanted to mention this one first is what I think is so unique about this palette is there's not a single shade in here that I would call a dud. I don't know about you guys, but the majority of my palettes have at least 1 or 2 shades that either in color is just not one that I would really ever reach for, or maybe the formulation of it is kind of a dud, like it's kind of powdery or just not very pigmented or doesn't blend very well. But this one, I think every single shade in here I use regularly. So now I want to go through and swatch each of the shades in this palette. And let's start with the top row. So the first 2 shades in here are Shooting Star and Magical. They're your transition shades. And then next up we have Stardust and Twinkle. I love that this palette includes the 2 different transition shades. They are quite different. This one is definitely more of it's lighter in tone, but it definitely has a bit more of like an orange creamsicle color to it, which I really, really love for certain looks. And then you have just kind of your neutral, just like kind of like MAC soft brown, just very neutral, slightly more on the warm side tan shade in here in Shooting Star. Both of these are very beautiful. I love that you can even combine them together and just get like that perfect transition shade. I also love Stardust and Twinkle. These are fantastic lid shades. Now initially when I got this palette, I kind of thought that maybe there was a mistake. These colors seemed very similar to me, but as I've worn them a few times, they definitely are a little bit different. This one does have quite a bit more rose gold to it, whereas this one is more, it's just very much a copper, like a traditional copper. Love both of those. I think they're just very classic colors. I think they're one of those colors you can just put all over your lid with your finger and then just buff out into your crease, and it looks like you put a lot more effort into your look than you actually did. Then on row 2 we have the colors Sweet Dreams, Water Bear, Potion, and Spark. Now Sweet Dreams might be one of my most worn colors in this palette. I love using this as just kind of a wash of sparkle to my lid. It just creates kind of that highlighted effect, which I love for my eyelids. Because I have very small eyelids, I like to put something shimmery there because I want light to be drawn to that very small section of my eye. And I love this shade. It definitely is kind of a chameleon type of eyeshadow because it's a little bit sheer. You can put it on alone and a little bit of your skin tone is gonna kind of come through and you'll just get kind of the sparkle. Or if you put it on top of different colors or other eyeshadows, a little bit of those colors are gonna kind of peek through and transform it a little bit. Then the color Water Bear is such a beautiful, deep kind of, it reminds me of like the deep ocean. I love this color. It's so rich and beautiful. I think blues and greens can be a little bit tricky to pull off, but this is definitely the perfect way to do it. The color Potion is just kind of your classic terracotta matte shade. Such a versatile shade. I love using this on my lower lash line actually. It gives you just kind of that bronzy warmth that's not too like you got punched in the face, kind of warm. The red I think is a little bit scary to put under my eye because it makes me look a little bit sick or injured, but this is kind of like that perfect bronzy, warm, but not too warm. Does that make sense? And then of course last is the color Spark. I love this shade. I definitely was intimidated. Of all the colors in here, this is the one that scared me the most to begin with, because let's be honest, I'm very boring when it comes to most of my eye makeup. But the more I have worn this color, I have just come to really adore it. I think it's the type of color that surprises me how good it looks on the eye, because it seems like that color would just make me look like my eyes were bleeding, but it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. Again, it's very versatile depending on how light of a hand or how many layers you put on. You could definitely create something very fun and editorial if you are someone that likes very vivid, bold looks. Or again, if you go in with a light hand, you could do something very soft and add just a unique warmth to your eye look. On the last row, we have the colors Kaleidoscope, Elfish, Moony, and Mermaid Boy. The very first shade in here, Kaleidoscope, is such a fun and unique color. Again, kind of like the shade above it in the color Sweet Dreams. It's kind of that perfect lid topper shade. This one definitely is a lot more, I think, brightening. It has a lot more opaqueness to it than the Sweet Dreams does, and it has more of like a yellowy green cool tone undertone to it than like the warm peachy gold that the Sweet Dreams has. I love this one because it definitely can kind of, again, is a little bit transformative. Because it has a little bit of blue in it, depending on what you pair it with, you can either bring out that blue or you can kind of bring out the champagne kind of color in it if you do more of like a bronzy type of eye. So it really kind of takes on your other shadows and kind of transforms depending on what you pair with it. Color Elfish, again, is one of my favorite shades in here and definitely one of my most used shades in here. Seems very basic, but this color is kind of unique in that it's a rich chocolatey brown that's very warm, but it has a touch of kind of a purple undertone to it, which makes it a little bit cool toned as well. So you could definitely use this to deepen up a warm tone look or a cool tone look, and I think it would work perfectly. I love very, very rich browns for smoking out kind of my outer lash line. This is the type of thing that I do whenever I want my eyes to look really smoky and dramatic. This is what I do on my eyes all the time, and this is the perfect shade for doing that. Just really taking that with a fluffy brush and just really concentrating it right here in the outer corner of your eye, just to really smoking things out, really makes your eyes kind of look elongated. I love that, and this is such a perfect shade to do that. I will reach for this specific shade when using other palettes because I love it so much. Now the shade Moony in here. I definitely like this shade. I know that a lot of people, including Kathleen, use this as kind of an inner corner highlight or as a brow bone highlight. On me specifically, it's a little bit too deep to do that. I find that when I put it under my brow bone, it just is a little bit too peachy because my skin's a little bit more fair. But don't get me wrong, it's definitely a usable shade. This is a beautiful, just kind of wash of neutral color on your lid. I mean, I wouldn't even call it color. It's kind of a champagne-y peach is how I would describe it. This has the most beautiful sheen to it. I wouldn't call it a shimmer, but when you put this all over kind of like the inner half or third of your lid, it just looks very brightening, which I always love that effect on my eyes. I think I've said that several times, but this does a really great job at that. I really love this as just kind of a neutral lid shade. I definitely think I probably use this one a little bit more as a lid shade because I like a little bit more sparkle, but don't get me wrong, this is definitely a very beautiful shade, and if you have deeper skin, this would be the perfect kind of brow bone highlight or inner corner highlight that's going to brighten things up but not be too glittery. Last shade, Mermaid Boy, probably one of the most beautiful shades in here. Love the reflectiveness of this one. Such a beautiful, perfect green. I just love this type of a green. It's kind of, I don't know, I just enjoy looking at it. Like, I want to put this on my eyes just because it's the type of color that really makes me, like, gets me excited about color. And I am not someone that gets very excited about putting colors on my eyeballs because I'm very basic, but this is so, so pretty. I think the most perfect, easy look in here is probably this one on the outer kind of third or half of your lid, with this one deepening up your crease, and then this Kaleidoscope color in the inner third of your eyelid. Just blend those three together and you'll get the most beautiful like gradient of green ocean beautifulness on your eyelid. I just think it's so pretty. I've definitely seen a lot of people do that look, and every single one of them it looks amazing on. I did use this palette on my eyes today, and I'll kind of walk you guys through the look that I created. I definitely went for a more neutral eye today, but I did add this red color in here just for a little bit of punch. But to start off, I went in with these two corner colors here. These are in the colors Shooting Star and Magical. I combined these two and just kind of on a fluffy brush just put those into my crease to get ready for that nice bright red shade, because I didn't want to go right right in with the red shader. It would just be a little bit too harsh. I wanted it to look a little bit softer. So after applying that, I went in with the red, which is the color Spark. This is such a gorgeous red. It's definitely very much a red, but it has a terracotta kind of neutral undertone to it that makes it very wearable. I also love that you can really build this color up to make it really intense if you wanted that really bright, vivid red color. But if you're kind of soft with it, it really is a lot more natural looking. That's kind of what I did today. I just went in with a light hand and just kind of applied that in the outer third of my eyelid. I just love the touch of color that that gives to your eye. It looks a little bit scary when you first apply it, but as you put the other colors on top of it and then later add your liner and your lashes, it just kind of all comes together and gives you this just beautiful, warm, kind of bronzy eye. Next, I went in with this corner shade. This is the color Twinkle. This is kind of just a copper / rose gold kind of toned copper color, and I applied this just with my finger onto my entire eyelid. I concentrated this color mainly in the center of my lid, but also kind of went over that red color in the outer third just to kind of make things look a little bit more seamless and blended. I absolutely love this color. It's such a beautiful lid shade. If you want that kind of golden bronzy look that is just, I think, so flattering on really anybody. I think any skin tone, any eye color, this shade would look fantastic on. I absolutely love this color. Then I went in with this bottom color here. Today I applied that just with a small fluffy brush and just kind of concentrated that on just that outer corner of my eye, just right there at the lash line. I actually like my brush to kind of, if you can kind of see in the video, I like my brush to kind of graze the top and bottom of my outer lash line, just right there at the corner, so it just gives you that kind of smoked corner. Does that, I don't know if that makes sense. Then I went in with this kind of terracotta lighter brown shade in the palette. This is the color Potion, and I applied that to my lower lash line. I absolutely love this look. I think it is such a beautiful everyday look with a touch of color. I know on the camera I'm not sure how strong the red is coming across. I think in person it's a little bit more vibrant, but I just think this is such a pretty look. If you are someone that is on a budget, I think Colourpop shadows in general are a great place to look because they are so affordable and the formulations are so great. But of all the palettes from Colourpop that I have, this is definitely my very favorite one. I think just across the board, such a great palette. So those are my thoughts on the Kathleen Lights Dream Street palette. Again, I cannot recommend this one enough. I absolutely love it. If you guys have not subscribed to my channel yet, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and join me throughout the rest of the month and for my future videos, and also hit that thumbs up button if you enjoy this type of video or this series in general. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope that you enjoyed this today, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. There's not a single one in here that I don't think formulation wise is fantastic or color wise. Wait, that I don't think. No, that didn't make sense.